Okay, so for today's lesson, we are going to add to the terms that we learned for yesterday's lesson, and we're going to talk about 4 different types of angles. So where you found this video, you will also find, again, a sheet very similar problem. You just have it digitally on your Chromebook, okay? So today we're going to talk about types of angles. And first we need to define what an angle is. So an angle is formed by 2 rays. And remember, yesterday we learned that a ray has one endpoint and an arrow at the other end because it goes on in one direction. So it's formed by 2 rays that meet at a vertex. Okay, so these 2 rays, they actually share their endpoint, and that endpoint that they share is what we call a vertex. So let's look first at a right angle. So a right angle forms a square corner and always measures 90 degrees. So let me back up for a minute. Let's talk about how we measure angles. So we have a unit of measurement for angles, just like we have unit of measurement like inches, feet, centimeters, millimeters. So we measure an angle in degrees, and we're going to learn how to measure them later, probably next week or the week after. But our unit of measurement is a degree, and we do that with this little circle. It's just like it's the same as when we do like temperatures, like how cold or hot it is outside. So it's that same label, looks the same there. So we measure in degrees. So a right angle always measures at 90 degrees. So let's see what a right angle would look like. So our right angle has one ray that goes straight up and one ray that goes straight out. So just like we had body motions for our geometric terms yesterday, we're going to do the same thing today. So what I want for you to do is I want you to put one arm straight up and one arm straight out. And each of them should have your hands, your palms facing out. We're not doing this. They're not points. They're rays, right? So one ray up and one ray out. The way that you can tell a right angle a lot of the times is that it has a square in the corner, okay? So this angle, so here is the end point that they share. This is what we call the vertex, okay? So our points also need to be labeled. So this is ray BA and ray BC coming together to form this angle. The way that we label an angle, it doesn't matter what type of angle it is, we always start with, it kind of looks like the less than sign, but the bottom is straight, the bottom line is straight, and the top line is kind of angled, okay? So it's straight and up a little bit, okay? So angle, that stands for angle, and my vertex point, the end point that they share, is always my middle letter. So I could label this 2 different ways. I could start with A and label this angle A, B, C. So I start with A, go to my vertex, and then go to the other point, C. Or I could label this, start with my angle. I could label it C, starting with C, going to my vertex, B, A. The most important part is that my vertex is the middle letter, okay? Because you might actually be given a label and you have to draw that angle. So if you didn't have this example and all you had was angle ABC, you would know that the vertex is B with A and C on opposite rays, all right? So let's look at an acute angle. All right, an acute angle is open less than a right angle. Okay, so if it's open less than a right angle, that means it is less than 90 degrees. Okay, I have something that can help you remember this. Okay, so first let's do our body symbol to help us remember. Okay, so remember a right angle was straight up and straight out. So I always like to start with my right angle because we're comparing an acute angle to a right angle. I know that it's less than a right angle. So let's start with our right angle, straight up and straight out. And then we're going to move this less than. Okay, so now I'm less than 90 degrees. So this is acute angle. It's smaller. A way that I like to remember this is you can think of an acute angle is it's a cute little angle, right? It's cute, it's little. So it's smaller than right, and we can remember it by saying it's a cute little angle. The way, or an example of this, we have our vertex. We have one ray, and then we have another ray showing that it's less than 90 degrees, okay? So my vertex is E, this is D, and F. So I can label this two different rays. Remember, the most important part is that my E is my middle letter because that's telling me that that is my vertex. So I'm going to start with angle. So I'm going to start with this ray up here, D, E, F. So I went from D, E to F. Or I can go the other way. So angle, F, E, D. So that time I started at F, I went to E, and then up to D for my label. All right? Now let's look at an obtuse angle. So an obtuse angle is open, wrong color. It is open more than a right angle. But less than a straight angle. We'll talk about a straight angle in a minute. But an obtuse angle is open more than a right angle, but less than a straight angle. So let's do our body motion. So let's start with our right angle. Straight up, straight out. Now, if we're going more than, I'm going to move my arm out this way. Okay, so here's a right angle. An obtuse angle is anywhere from here all the way out, but less than a straight angle. Okay, so it is larger than my right angle. So let's draw an example. I have my vertex, my ray that goes straight out, and then my other ray, it's going to open bigger than my right angle. So this is G, H, and I. So here's my obtuse angle, angle GHI, or angle IHG. So I'm going to label it. I start with my angle symbol. So I'm going to start with G. My vertex is my middle letter, G, H, I. Now remember, I can go the other way too. So I can start with I. My vertex is my middle letter, and then go to G. Okay? Now, a way to remember obtuse angle, how it's different from an acute angle, we have the prefix OB. Okay? So I want you to think of words like obese or oblong. Okay? It means large or big. So obtuse means it's a big obtuse angle. Okay? I use that voice because it helps me remember that it's bigger than a cute little angle. So obtuse is larger than a right angle. Acute is smaller than a right angle. All right, so let's go on to straight angle. All right, so a straight angle forms a straight line, and it always measures 180 degrees. Okay, now the difference between a straight angle and a line, our straight angle is still going to have a vertex. It's still going to have that middle point that it's two rays meeting at that middle or that end point. Okay, so we have our vertex. One ray goes straight out this way. One ray goes straight out this way. So we have J, K, and L. Okay, so I know it looks like a straight line or it looks like a line, but this is truly a straight angle because it's two rays meeting or sharing point K as the vertex. All right, so I'm going to label this just like I've labeled all my other angles. So I'm going to start with angle, and I'm going to start with J. J, K goes in the middle because it's my vertex, L. Now I can go the other way too. I can start with L, K goes in the middle because it's my vertex, and then J. So L, K, J. That way.